Hey guys, just wanted to do kind of a longer introduction for those of you that we haven't met or haven't really gotten into the weeds with. Always, networking and connecting with people, and figured it'd just be nice to do one longer format video to kind of introduce Ethan and I and what we're doing right now in real estate and what we're kind of focused on going forward. So Ethan and I met in the military. We're both reservists in the Marine Corps. And we actually met in the combat training portion, and then we actually ended up having the same military occupation as well, which is a 1371 combat engineer. In training, neither of us really had a great idea of what we wanted to do, but returned home after completing training. Ethan was working as an EMT. I started working union construction. This is 2019 into 2020, into early 2021 as well. We were both still doing those things. And we just kind of stayed in touch through that time period, and both started consuming a lot of content podcasts. Specifically, the Bigger Pockets podcast was really kind of where the foundation started. A lot of audiobooks and just kind of real estate specific, but also business investing. Things caught our eye. We knew we didn't want to work in construction or be an EMT our whole lives. Rich Dad Poor Dad was like the first book that really sent things home for both of us, and that's kind of how the whole YouTube university began. Bigger Pockets podcast was really the Trojan horse to everything else that we discovered. I found a local real estate meetup right at the beginning of COVID in Connecticut, and so eventually just kind of got to the point Ethan and I felt like we had a good base and that we needed to take some action. So the first property Ethan bought was a single family right outside of Columbus, Ohio, and used a conventional loan for I believe somewhere around $60,000. Put $25,000 into it and ended up refinancing out, utilizing like a BRRRR strategy for, I believe the loan is $110,000. It might have appraised for $125 or $130, and this is 2020, so it's gone up a bit now. But regardless, that was kind of Ethan's introduction. And then on my end in Connecticut, I purchased a duplex outside of Hartford, about 20 minutes. And fixed up the first side, rented it out, fixed up the other side, and actually moved into it. I did end up selling that property, just saw some maintenance issues coming up that I didn't want to deal with, and ended up kind of getting out at a really good time at the end of 2021 where prices were at a premium. And so beginning of 2021, Ethan and I had the opportunity to either start marketing and trying to get into real estate in Connecticut or Ohio, and ended up really making the decision to focus and double down on Ohio. Taxes are relatively low, especially compared to Connecticut, and landlord laws are definitely in favor of the landlord and not so much the tenant, which is the case in Connecticut. And so pretty quickly we started marketing, doing some texting, some cold calling, some bandit signs on the telephone poles, and had a bit of traction. Quickly took down quite a few projects, all through private capital, hard money lenders, and again direct to seller deals, a few through wholesalers as well. And just really the biggest kind of headache or trouble that we ran into was the contracting end. It seemed like we could source the opportunities, markets headed in the right direction with low rates, and we just couldn't renovate things fast enough. That was really our biggest headache. We were able to refinance out of some projects, single families, duplexes that we can keep as BRRRR rentals. We also bought a few properties with creative financing, seller finance, subject to. There are also some of the things that we were able to utilize on a few projects as well. And really just a huge learning curve in 2021, learned a ton. In September, we purchased a 20-unit apartment complex, which was kind of our first taste of commercial real estate and just the benefits that larger assets can provide. And so we've been renovating that through the end of 2021 into this year, 2022, and finally we're at a point where fingers crossed, 2 to 3 weeks out from refinancing that project and paying back our private investors, and our plans to hold that one forever. So refi till we die.
Refi till we die.
Anyways, at this point in our kind of real estate career, again, we're entirely direct to seller. We will work with joint venture or buy through other investors or wholesalers. Right now we have 2 mobile home parks totaling 74 pads between the two of them. And then Ethan and I should add, those mobile home parks we own we brought on like a capital partner or investor on each of those, and then the other 20-unit apartment complex we own, along with 17 other units, which is a mix of a 5-unit, a 4-unit, and then duplexes and single families to make up the rest. Ethan and I are just 50-50 partners on those. It's been a pretty quick scale time period. We've learned a ton over the past 18 months. and plan to continue to scale. Definitely as the market continues to kind of shift with rates rising, we've been doubling down on the creative finance strategies there, seller finance, seller carries, subject to anything where we're able to structure it with some cash flow. Creatively is definitely catching our eye right now, and so we've been figuring out ways to pitch that more, and we'll definitely be sharing some of those things here. But hopefully I didn't miss anything too crazy there. I guess the only other thing to add is how we can help. I'm happy to help with underwriting, anything on the marketing end, marketing strategies we utilize. We still do some texting. We've definitely introduced more mail to our marketing. It's a little bit less time intensive on our end, our physical time involved, so we really like that. So yeah, the underwriting, marketing, talking to sellers, happy to help with any of those things, and I'm sure we'll be able to fill some other gaps as well. But also raising private capital, that's probably a good key thing to add. Ethan and I, didn't get into real estate because we had $1 million to invest, that we really had just enough to start a marketing budget. And so the main reason that we've been able to scale beyond finding the opportunities was our ability to raise private capital to come in and either joint venture with us in some of the projects, or just as debt, where we would refinance out or sell the flip and pay back the investor interest on their money. So we can definitely help on raising private capital and how to approach people that are already in your network, and how to source people that are kind of in your general web that you may not even know about yet. But looking forward to continuing networking with everyone, and hopefully this is a good longer introduction.